Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, November 6th, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook. And we're going to be focusing on the time period from November 13 to November 19, as well as the time period from November 20 to November 26. And what do we see on our side of the world? The Atlantic. Just for reference, we have Africa right here, we have South America right here, we have North America right here. We see some greens in and around the Caribbean, and we also see some red and white patterns. And we see that on both time periods. So it's not only on November 13 to November 19, but we even see it on the time period from November 20 to November 26. What does all of this represent? Well, if we take a look at the key at the bottom, the light shades of greens represent above average rainfall probability, a 50% chance at that, while the red and white patterns represent tropical cyclone formation probability, a 20% chance at that. So what the US Climate Prediction Center is stating is that even as we're heading throughout the month of November, there's still a chance that we're going to be getting some more systems formulating, maybe becoming tropical depressions, if not tropical storms. In our neck of the woods, we have Jamaica smack dab in the middle of all of this. Hopefully, the Climate Prediction Center is wrong. We know they've been wrong a lot of times in the past, so we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt in general. Either way, whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you all posted. If we take a look at the United States National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 6:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this just came out 18 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:10 p.m. now. We can see that we still have Hurricane Rafael right there. It should be over the sea right now. It was on land, and before it came on land across Cuba, it was a major hurricane earlier today. And we also see that we still have that area to the north of the Eastern Caribbean that has a chance of development as it pushes towards the west to the north of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic, as a matter of fact, let's reload these, that we have the very latest. We see as the sun is starting to go down, we see we're losing the sunlight, everything is turning black and white. We don't see the blues of the sea or the green of the land. We can definitely see Hurricane Rafael right here. Lots of clouds associated with it, stretching all the way down into portion of Central America, all the way down to the south of Hispaniola, well, to the south of Jamaica, that is, as we get more of a troughing kind of pattern. So it's definitely starting to moisten up the atmosphere. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a lot of rainfall within the next 24 hours. We see that today has been definitely a bit drier for sure. All of the moisture sucking into the system. So Jamaica is definitely drying out today for sure. Lots of sunshine. We're indeed grateful for that. No complaints. I know many persons wouldn't mind to get some more rainfall. And apart from Rafael, we can also see the clouds associated with that system. It's right here to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. Lots of clouds, lots of showers and thunderstorms currently lashing portions of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, the Leeward Islands as well. If we take a look at what the Hurricane Center is stating regarding the system that has a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days, they stated a trough of low pressure is producing an era of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. a couple hundred miles east northeast of the northern Leeward Islands. This system is expected to move generally westward during the next few days, and an area of low pressure could form near the northern Leeward or Virgin Islands tonight or Thursday. Afterward, some gradual development of this system is possible toward the end of the week and into the weekend while it moves near or to the north of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and approaches the southeast Bahamas. And we see that they've given it a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's next 2 days, and a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we know that the next name on the list after Rafael is going to be Sarah. So it's going to be interesting to see if it actually acquires that name. So I guess even if it acquires that name, the US Climate Prediction Center is already correct with the fact that something is going to be developing in and around the Caribbean within the next 20 more days or so before the month ends. Alright, so let us focus our attention on the latest regarding Hurricane Rafael. We can definitely see the deep convection, the central dense overcast associated with the system. The reds, the blacks, the grays, the whites, the purples. Definitely quite a formidable core. We saw an eye with this system before it entered into Cuba today. As I've stated, it was a major hurricane, a category 3 at that. Definitely weakened after it went overland because these systems don't like land. And if we zoom out a bit, we can definitely see how huge the system is. It's stretching all the way into portions of southern Florida. We know that we have a lot of friends or relatives who live there. All the way into portions of central Cuba and even portions of the Cayman Islands right here. Still getting on some amount of the outer bands as we speak. So it's definitely huge. Lots of showers and thunderstorms associated with it. As a matter of fact, if we look back at the other infrared, that's the rainbow loop, we can even see some clouds associated with a trough kind of pattern starting to come in. Look at these clouds to the east of Jamaica as we speak. Look at the thunderstorm to the south of us as well. So all of this is starting to push its way westward and could definitely be drawn all the way up into the circulation of Rafael. Lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms to the south of the island as we speak. We'll be taking a closer look at what's happening shortly when we take a look at the current weather across Jamaica. So just stay tuned. And we also see a lot of clouds right here affecting portion of the Leeward Islands too. So that's Rafael's close-up. But what about what is expected to do? We see as of the 12Z, okay, we have the 18Z now. So we see it's expected to continue to push northwestward into the eastern to the central Gulf, where it's expected to push westward. And then we see that the models are all over the place. Not really sure where it's going to be going. Is it going to be going to the north? Will it go to the south into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico? Definitely not sure at this time according to this latest run of the GEFS. That's the GFS Ensemble Spaghetti models. What does the Euro Ensemble show? Majority of them try to take it out maybe towards the southern Gulf states of the US. Some of them make it southward. We see exactly what's going to be taking place. Basically the same thing that the GFS has been showing. And regarding the intensity, it's definitely expected to be weakening for sure. It's definitely maxed out at category 3 intensity. There's no way it's going to be topping that. And we see that majority of the models are taking it all the way down back to tropical storm status as we head through the next 5 days. According to the latest information from the Hurricane Center, the latest update from 7 p.m. states that the hurricane is packing maximum sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. So it's right in here, anywhere from 96 to 110 mile per hour winds. That's where we have a category 2 storm in general. So it's definitely category 2 status. It was category 3 earlier today before it made landfall in Cuba. That's a major hurricane. You know that category 3 to 5 are basically major hurricanes in general. In the Western Pacific, where they are called super typhoons, it's around category 4 to category 5 that they refer to as super typhoons. But in our basin, we refer to the category 3 to 5s as major hurricanes. And if we take a look at the information, we still have hurricane warnings up in the red for the western portion of Cuba. We still have this huge tropical storm wind field, even stretching as far as the Florida Keys. We even have tropical storm warnings still up for portion of the central portion of Cuba. And we see that it's going to be continuing out to sea for the most part, but whatever it does thereafter, still unsure, and we know that it could affect land later on. So we have to wait to see exactly what unfolds. We see how wide the projected path from the hurricane center gets. That's because they're not really sure. Is it gonna go north? Will it go to the west? Will it go to the south? It's just one big question mark at this point. They are not sure exactly what's going to be happening. If we take a look at the path that Rafael took, we saw what it did. It developed itself to the south of us, then it pushed to the northeast, then it pushed to the north, then it pushed to the northwest, and it definitely missed us. We're definitely grateful that it's only passed us as a tropical storm. Definitely grateful, because look at what it's doing to Cuba right now. I'm pretty sure that within the next 24 hours, if not already, if you search on Twitter or maybe on YouTube, type in Rafael in Cuba, you're going to see damage coming out for sure, from storm surge with the strong or the high wave heights to maybe rips not waves, roofs being ripped off, flooding, and so forth. It's a category 3 hurricane. It's bad. That's what Gilbert was back in 1988, and we remember the damage, or we've heard of the damage from some of our family members who endured it in general. And if we take a look at the tropical storm force winds, we can see that yes, we definitely had those gold colors passing over, especially central and western Jamaica, and then push northward, and we started to see more of this, the Burgundies, right in there. We saw how small it was, but it definitely crossed over a little Cayman right there as it became a hurricane. The Burgundies we know represent hurricane force winds, and we saw all of that definitely expanding, looking more like a baseball bat, stretching all the way into portions of Cuba, which is where it is located as we speak. And all of these tropical storm force wind probabilities are going to be affecting the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. So more than likely, definitely going to be sending a lot of waves in all directions. High waves for the Yucatan, Mexico, and the southern Gulf states, as well as the western coast of Florida. We're going to be focusing our attention on what the latest Euro and the GFS models are showing regarding both Rafael as well as the system to the north of the Eastern Caribbean, as well as what's expected within the next 7 days across the Caribbean, including Jamaica. We're going to be focusing our attention on the moisture. All of the greens that we see on the key on the right that represents anywhere from 0.25 all the way up to the yellows that represents the 6 inches of rainfall. So let's go out in time to see exactly what's going to be happening. First of all, we're going to be focusing our attention as well at the top of the map, where we're going out to 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. And then we're going to be doing the same with the latest GFS. This is the latest Euro model that came out sometime between 3 and 4 p.m. today. And we're going to be looking at the latest GFS. That's the 18Z that came out an hour ago. So as we continue to go out in time, we see what's going to be taking place. First of all, as we head into Thursday, 12Z on Thursday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Thursday, we see a lot of moisture in and around Jamaica. And first of all, I want you guys to take this work as a grain of salt, because we saw it was showing moisture across and around Jamaica for Wednesday, and we saw how sunny Wednesday was, even although we did indeed have some early morning isolated showers, might have had some isolated thunderstorms across sections of St. James and Hanover this afternoon. I'll be showing you more of that later on. But take this work as a grain of salt. It might not happen, but we already see what's setting up. Let's look back at the latest rainbow satellite images. Look at the thunderstorm to the south of Jamaica. As a matter of fact, let's reload these images so that we have the very latest. Don't want to give you guys any outdated information, because the weather is always changing in general. Did I reload it? If not, let's reload it again. Alright, so I just reloaded it. Let's stop at the latest. There it is. and the latest is as of 10 UTC, so that's 7:10 p.m. So this just came out 12 minutes ago, and we can see some amount of thunderstorms to this, well, just for reference, we have Jamaica right here. We can see some thunderstorms to the south of us. So who knows, maybe some of that might make it onshore tonight. Maybe some of that is already affecting parts of the island. We shall see when we look at the current happenings across Jamaica shortly. But as we continue to go out in time, the Euro is showing moisture in and around Jamaica for Thursday. As we continue, we see that it should definitely clear out for sure on Friday. More whites than anything else, that represent little to no cloud cover, rainfall, more sunshine than anything else. We see what the system is doing. That's Rafael pushing more so closer to the Yucatan, maybe a more west southwesterly flow, and then maybe starting to lift. But as we can see in terms of the moisture, we see moisture increasing across the Caribbean. More than likely, whatever is expected to develop, pushing into portion of the southern Bahamas, Cuba right there, but not as formidable as what the GFS was showing yesterday. And we're going to be stopping right here at the end of the 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. Not going to be going past that, because everything else after 168 hours is fantasy land and is subject to change. So let's go back. We saw what Rafael did. Rafael is right here. It went into Mexico right there before all was said and done, according to the latest run of the Euro. Let us take a look at the latest run of the GFS to see exactly what unfolds. So as we head into Thursday, 18th on Thursday is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we see some moisture in and around Jamaica. As I've said before, take this forecast with a grain of salt. It could definitely be wrong. It could be more sunshine than anything else, or it could actually be some amount of rainfall affecting us. But we see Rafael right there. We see a lot of moisture to the south of Puerto Rico. We see a lot of moisture to the northeast of Puerto Rico. Let's continue to go out in time. We see the system, maybe that code yellow right here to the east of Cuba. That looks like the same kind of track that Oscar took. And we also see Rafael should be somewhere right here, smack dab in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico by 12 on Saturday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Saturday. As we continue to go out in time, look at what takes place. Are we seeing this? The isobars associated with what's expected of that code yellow seems to be coming a bit too close for comfort towards Jamaica right here. We see it right here crossing from east to west across portions of southeastern Cuba. We'll see if that actually unfolds, and then I guess it gets pulled northward into central Cuba, and we see it somewhere in here across southern Florida, the Bahamas, northern Cuba. Regarding what's going to be happening with Rafael, we see it right here close to the Gulf states of the United States in general. And then we're going to be stopping right here at the next 168 hours. First of all, we still see Rafael right here, just to show you that the models aren't sure what's going to be happening. Remember, the Euro brought it into Mexico. The GFS brought it close to the United States coast, then back down. This is where it's located, possibly dissipated by that time, lacking moisture, showers and thunderstorms. But we also see that there's going to be an abundance of moisture in and around the Caribbean. Look at the greens, definitely coming in line with what the US Climate Prediction Center is showing. Some small chance of above normal rainfall, as represented by the green, the light greens that we highlighted earlier. So it could definitely come to fruition. And regarding the accumulated precipitation over the next 7 days, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way up to Wednesday, November 13. Look at the reds, look at the burgundies, look at the purples, look at the pinks that we can see by the key on the right that represents anywhere from 1 all the way up to 4 inches of rainfall, especially across the Windward Islands. Let's use black. So especially across the Windward Islands, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, portions of Puerto Rico right here, maybe to the south of Hispaniola, to the east of Jamaica, to the south of Jamaica. Lots of the rainfall from western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, section of Honduras getting in on the mix. Let us see if it's the same thing that we're seeing on the Euro model. Alright, something somewhat similar incorporating a lot of eastern Honduras right here, lots of purples, and we can also see all of the moisture still expected from Rafael across sections of western Cuba into the Gulf of Mexico. So it's definitely in consensus. Lots of rainfall expected within the next 7 days, especially across the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Windward Islands, as well as the Southern Caribbean, that's Colombia, Western Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica. We know we have a lot of persons from Jamaica who live or work in Panama. They're definitely quite a wet country in general, but they're used to the heavy rainfall for sure. And regarding the close up in terms of the rainfall that's expected, we can see that this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way up to Wednesday, November 13. The Euro showing somewhat similar amounts of rainfall to the GFS. We see more yellows than anything else, oranges, so to signal that we're not going to be having a lot. We see the key on the bottom showing anywhere from 30 all the way up to some slight oranges, maybe up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. You can do the math right here with the graphics, millimeters to inches right here. We know that 1 inch is about 25 millimeters of rainfall regarding the rainfall that we receive when measured on the rain gauge. GFS showing even more oranges, especially across eastern Jamaica. So quite some interesting times, and interesting 7-day forecast. More than likely, most of this rainfall could be affecting especially eastern Jamaica in the mornings, maybe central and western Jamaica during the afternoon, given the weather pattern that's on its way. We're going to be talking about that weather pattern because we know it. Weather pattern has a lot to do with wind direction as well as wind speeds. Alright. Let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that we have that ridge of high pressure. It's this ridge of high pressure right here that's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. It's this ridge of high pressure right here that's steering Rafael into the Gulf of Mexico as we speak, all around the area in an anti-clockwise fashion. That's what the high pressure ridges do. They send wind around them in an anti-clockwise fashion. We can also see some broken orange lines right here, one across the eastern Caribbean, another one right here to the east of the eastern Caribbean that has been induced by that frontal system that stretches all the way up into the northern portions of the North Atlantic. We can also see a tropical wave right here to the northeast of South America, and we can see the line associated with the intertropical convergent zone, as well as Hurricane Rafael right here. And if we take a look at the latest visible satellite images as the sun is going down, as a matter of fact, let's reload these, that we have the very latest. Alright, there we go. So we can definitely see the clouds associated with Rafael right over here. If it will load for me, will it load? We can definitely see the clouds associated with that frontal system attached to the trough right here, that low pressure area that the hurricane center is watching. We can see, let's see if it will actually load quickly. Will it load quickly for me? I don't think so. Well, we can even see the clouds associated with that tropical wave to the northeast of South America attached to the clouds of the intertropical convergence zone. We know the intertropical convergence zone is where the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and all of this causes a lot more cloud build up, lots of showers and thunderstorms for sure. We can even make out the clouds associated with the trough across the eastern Caribbean as well. Don't know why this image doesn't want to load for me. It's glitching out. Something is wrong. Alright, either way, we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, November 6, 2024. It was stated that parts of some southern parishes in Jamaica would have received rainfall last night into Wednesday morning, and that would have also had some rainfall affecting sections of some northern parishes during Wednesday afternoon when we'd have that daytime heating. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? As early as 6:40 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they are also made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted highlighting the latest image as of 6:40 a.m. and we could see all of the moisture associated with the outer band and the spiral band of Hurricane Rafael when it was right there before it entered into Cuba. But we saw that we're definitely getting some amount of isolated showers coming in from the south across sections of some southern parishes, sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and we even had a nice band of showers that came in from the southeast. Definitely came over my house in St. Thomas this morning, and it pushed into portions of Kingston and St. Andrew as well. And if we take a look here, the visible satellite images were also posted at around 7:21 a.m., highlighting the clouds associated with that rainfall band that we saw on the Cuban Doppler radar. Look at the clouds pushing in from the southeast to the northwest to confirm what we were seeing on the Doppler radar. Definitely had some isolated showers across sections of St. Thomas where I live, spilling into sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. We definitely had a lot of cloud cover across western Jamaica, more cloud cover than anything else, and then throughout the day, majority of this cleared out to bring forth sunny weather. So even although the models were showing a lot of rainfall across southern Jamaica, we see that the models aren't always 100% correct. So we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt sometimes, and we have to work with consensus a lot, because remember yesterday the Euro was adamant that southern Jamaica was going to be getting rainfall throughout the day today. The GFS was showing more whites. We saw that we're only going to be getting some isolated shores, especially across northern Jamaica on the GFS for sure. So we have to be working with consensus. And we definitely saw the wet ground on See Jamaica's YouTube channel. We saw what was posted highlighting Crossroad to show that they indeed got another morning rainfall. And then the sun came out. We saw the sky as well to indicate that we're getting on some partly cloudy skies for sure at around 9:08 a.m. And then finally, this afternoon at around 4:20 p.m., we highlighted the rainfall that was exiting sections of St. James, sections of Hanover, to show that they indeed got some amount of moderate to heavy rainfall. As you can see by the key on the right, the greens we know represent moderate rainfall, the yellows represent some strong or heavy rainfall. We also highlighted the fact that there was some amount of rainfall to the southwest of St. Elizabeth as well as to the southeast of St. Thomas, and we can see that right here, that green, some rainfall to the southeast of St. Thomas as well as that rainfall to the southwest of St. Elizabeth, to the south of Westmoreland for sure at that time. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely make out that flow across the island, more of a southeasterly low level flow for sure. We see the clouds associated with that rainfall that we saw on the Cuban Doppler radar to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. And we also made out some of the clouds starting to come into frame to the southeast of St. Thomas before we started to lose the sunlight. And if we take a look at the very latest, well, not the very latest, we're going to be looking at the very latest shortly, but we can see that earlier today, we definitely had some thunderstorms exiting St. James, section of Hanover for sure. And we also saw some thunderstorms based on the radar image to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. You even see some of the rainfall popping up right here to the south of St. Thomas too. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on See Jamaica's YouTube channel. Definitely glitching out for me. I just see it spinning. It's just spinning when I'm checking out Crossroads. I don't know. Maybe it's glitched out. If you don't know, but I know we have a partnership with this channel though. They show live streams of the corporate era, Flatbridge, Halfway Tree, Barbican, the Kingston Harbor, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. But I don't know, for some reason, for the past hour, it's just spinning for me. And it's not like my internet is trash. I don't know. I think maybe it's a computer glitch, because it's telling me that there are 12 people watching right now. So it must be on my end because 12 people wouldn't be sitting and watching this thing spin at all. So we'll check back tomorrow with that. Either way, we already saw what was taking place today on the live cam that was shown on our other pages. Definitely some morning rainfall that caused the ground to be wet. Then the sun came out for sure. And we also have what was taking place across Rick's Cafe in the grill as well. Let's see. Definitely looked like it was more cloudy conditions than anything else. Let's see if we can actually get the timestamp. Will it show that? Wish I could see that. Alright, I don't think I'm seeing the timestamp at all. But yesterday we saw Rick's Cafe definitely looking vacant, definitely looking empty. We saw the huge waves that Rafael was causing out there in the grill for sure. But as of right now, well, as of today, we saw that they were definitely getting in on the overcast skies, and it makes sense. We saw the overcast skies on the visible satellite image over here to confirm that they were definitely, not getting in on that sunshine. Not much in the way of rainfall today at all. But if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, that's the CIMH, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall since 12 a.m. Definitely across southern Jamaica, we see the flow. We see that moist southeasterly flow. Definitely some isolated showers into portion of St. Thomas, section of southern Jamaica for sure, as well as sections of Hanover and St. James, where we had that brief afternoon isolated thunderstorm that went out to sea. And we still have some information coming out regarding, well, the impact that Rafael had on us. As of the latest update from the National Works Agency, as of 4:41 p.m. today, they've stated closed. The Bogwalk Gorge St. Catherine remains closed and will be for at least the next 12 to 16 hours. Water levels remain high and boulders have also fallen onto the road. We will advise as soon as the corridors open to vehicular traffic. Okay, so that's definitely the latest update. And we also have more information highlighting flooding. This was what, yesterday? That's 5:58 p.m. highlighting flooding in Mango Grove in St. Catherine. Right here we see the murky water, as if I didn't highlight that yesterday. We also had Jamaican Matey and Groupie Pink Wall on Instagram highlighting a bridge that was damaged because of the system passing through. You can see the murky water on the bridge. Definitely a bad situation, boy. We need some real good infrastructure across Jamaica. Can you imagine the people who have to traverse that bridge every day? Definitely going to be a challenge for them. And this is the after image after the river water has receded. If you can make out this image from the other side now, you can definitely see the damage that has been done. Boy, hopefully they get a new bridge very soon there. And even this video right here highlighting a landslide. That's crazy. Destroying our roads in general. Another video right here highlighting flood waters. I really don't like to show videos like this now because we don't really have a timestamp, and we don't hear the people in the video really talking and saying, oh, this was done by Rafael. I don't like posting or showing videos like this because it could be outdated information, but still I'm showing it. Definitely is Jamaica for sure. Definitely bad. We see the dog in the water. Lots of flooding. If this actually verifies for impact from Rafael for real, but it just was posted 12 hours ago, so hopefully it wasn't. It's nothing too outdated. We can also see that unfortunately we had bad news. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be giving you more on this within the next 2 hours on our other social media platform from TVJ News, because they've stated from the Jamaica Gleaner that there is a search on for 2 people who were washed away during rainfall in St. Catherine, and we see a truck right there pushing off in the water, boy. Hopefully nothing bad took place, guys. I've told you time and time again, don't brave it with your vehicles. The vehicles can shut off and then the water levels rise and then this happens. The vehicle being taken away with you. Don't want any bad news coming out. We don't want to be making the news like this. If we're gonna be making the news, let it be something that is good, not something like this at all. When you come upon flooded roadways, I cannot stress enough how important it is to turn around and not drown. If we take a look here at some of the comments that came in on our Twitter page, we had Kerry, the coach, stating consistent moderate rainfall, overcast, and spells of fog. We also have Hala Madrid stating rain, stop and start in Kingston. We have Brielle Patton stating Mandeville rain, a kill we turn it off. Even on our Facebook page, we had one comment coming in here from Marcia Thompson saying not at all, it's raining where I'm at in Mandeville. And if we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, let's see what's happening right now. Alright, so the very latest still image just came out at 0035 UTC. So that's 7:35 p.m. So that just came out 8 minutes ago. We can see some convection right here off to the south of Westmoreland to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. We see some clouds right here across portions of St. Thomas, some clouds. Well, it could be some string of high-level clouds to the east of the island, some string of high-level clouds stretching from the north, maybe the upper-level wind shear pushing them off towards the southeast, just as stated in yesterday's video. So let's match it with the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Let's reload these images that we have the very latest to show. All right. Alright, there we go. So the very latest image is as of 7:30 p.m. And we can definitely make out some of that rainfall that was definitely close to St. Thomas. We see at the beginning of the image some greens, maybe some light rainfall for sure. But I didn't get in on any of it. I guess it died out before it got to me. We can also make out some string of moisture right here in and around the Cayman Islands left over from Rafael. And a lot of moisture right here to the south of Westmoreland, to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. We also see some moisture to the south of central and eastern Jamaica. Who knows, maybe some of this could make it onshore into section of southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester, southern Clarendon tonight. We'll see exactly what unfolds as the night progresses. As of right now, the rainfall is out to sea. And some of you guys might be saying, but whether Jamaica, we see some greens and some reds and some yellows on land. All of that you see, guys, is ground clutter. Especially if you're not seeing the deep reds and the blacks on land. That's what is called ground clutter. It's basically a glitch in the system. So don't pay this that you see on land any mind. The real rainfall is actually moving from southeast to northwest for sure. And it's usually out to sea and coming on land. And if we take a look at the latest from the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar Station, we can make out some rainfall between Jamaica and Haiti. We can make out some rainfall from the leftovers of Rafael. We can see that all of this rainfall is stringing towards the north to wrap into the system. We see a lot of it to the east of Grand Cayman right here. Most of it making it into portion of Little Cayman right there for sure. More so, the greens and the yellows represent some moderate to some heavy rainfall. If we take a look at the latest, if the latest images will show, let's see if they're working. Here we go. I guess it's fixed now. I guess it wasn't me, because here we have the latest halfway tree cam as of 7:44 p.m. People walking about, going about their business. Definitely dry for sure. Wouldn't even know that there was a storm at all that passed. Boy, there's another thing that I don't like to see. Let's track back a little. What is this? Is this garbage? And then when all of this garbage clogs the drains, guys, and then we get flooding. Oh, the government should clean the drains and blah blah blah. Guys, what we should do is stop as a country and get more disciplined and dispose of our garbage properly. Like seriously, there's so many times I'm walking in Kingston and I just see people just throw their garbage anywhere. Like, come on, at least save it. Put it in a bin if you see a bin, or save it until you get home. Like, I will never understand this. In a country like Japan, I have so many friends and relatives who live and work in Japan, and they are so disciplined and clean. You'd never see the heap of garbage on the roadside like this at all. But boy, Jamaica, quite a different place here. Alright, so let us take a look at the temperatures right now. We can see our 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Thursday when calculated. That's about 1 p.m. on Thursday. And we can see Jamaica right here, for the most part, embedded in grays. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see the oranges or the reds at all. The grays, as we can see from the key on the right, represents average temperature. So it's 0. So it's not the blues that represent below normal temperatures. It's not the yellows and the oranges or the reds that represents the above normal temperature. So it should be average. We see some slight yellow surrounding the island that represents 1 degree Celsius above normal. But most of the island seems to be in the grays. And that's average or normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November are around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.1 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be the temperature forecast for Jamaica on Thursday, 31.1 degrees Celsius. And if that's a bit too hot for you, you must try your very best to beat the heat. Always dress down, wear light clothing, and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioning. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, as they can make you dehydrated. Basically make your dehydration worse. Limit the non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough how important it always is to stay hydrated throughout the day. Bring a lot of water with you throughout the day. Drink the water throughout the day. Not necessarily when you're about to travel, but definitely in the mornings for sure. Maybe when you're at school or at work. Definitely drink a lot of water throughout the day. Keep yourselves hydrated. Your body is made up of a huge percentage of water for a reason. Replenish it, stay hydrated. We don't want to hear of any heat related illnesses at all. You know how hot Jamaica can be, especially after a system like Rafael. Definitely gonna be warming up the atmosphere, lots of evaporation taking place. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we can definitely see all the browns represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa all the way into portion of the Eastern Caribbean right here. We see all of these browns, and all of this is pushing from east to west. So it could eventually make it into the central to the Western Caribbean near Jamaica. Jamaica is right here. But what we're happy about is the fact that it's more so on the lighter shades of browns. What we don't want to see is the darker shades of brown. Trust me, I've seen the shades of brown looking like this right here. And we know that vigorous plume of dust that can cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. And we're glad that for right now, most of the dust has been dwindling. The more west it goes, it has been dissipating. And it's more so on the lighter shades, not that vigorous that we're going to be noticing it in the skies at all. And boy, we can't take the respiratory illnesses, the asthma or sinusitis issues these days at all. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, makes sense that the highest wave should be where we have Rafael across the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Definitely going to be churning out a lot of rip currents into portion of the western coast of Florida, into portions of northwestern Cuba, section of the Yucatan. Definitely going to be getting some high waves, because the waves are going to be anywhere from 2 all the could be all the way up to 9 meter wave heights, as we can see in there. And we also see some purpose into the Burgundies to the north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, across the eastern Caribbean waters too. And that's because the winds across those areas, those bright greens as well as those yellows, anywhere from 20 to 20, maybe all the way up to 30 knot winds for sure. And the winds around that Rafael all the way up to hurricane status. So it makes sense that the waves are so high. And if we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica regarding the wind directions for tomorrow, look at this. More so of an easterly flow tomorrow. We're back with the easterly flows. And we know what usually takes place when we have an easterly flow across the island. We have more of that air piling up across inland areas of some central and western parishes. So look out for that afternoon rainfall when all of those low level clouds become mid level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds, across section of some central and western parishes. And what are our central and western parishes again? For those of you who might not know. So when we're talking about central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. So that's what's going to be taking place, and we also see that the wind should be averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 knots. So it's not going to be that strong. Definitely good for fishing in general. Low wave heights. As we go back, we see more of those blues across the Caribbean, anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights all the way up to 1.5 meter wave heights expected. And regarding the upper level wind shear, we still see that the outflow or the upper level high pressure around Rafael still going to be sending the winds in a pattern like this. So more of the winds from the upper levels coming out of the north. So any of the thunderstorms that develop, we've seen it happening. We go back to the infrared. We see the high cold cloud tops being pushed off. Let's animate this. You can definitely see the high cold cloud tops being pushed off more so towards the south. This is what we're talking about. The high cold cloud tops are going to be going in that direction. So it could favor more overcast skies, if not some light rainfall to sections of some southern parishes than anything else. Alright, so let us go out in time. Let's see what's expected tonight. And let's take this forecast as a grain of salt, because remember, even last night we highlighted, 9 o'clock something is going to happen according to the GFS. And then not really. I did get it on some isolated shores, but nothing drastic like what the GFS is showing. But this is for 9 p.m. tonight according to the Euro. We see the blues, we see the greens represent rainfall to the south of the island. That represents rainfall even across sections of eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland, southern Clarendon, southern Manchester, section of western Hanover, maybe northern Hanover. GFS showing something a bit similar in a sense. Eastern St. Thomas, eastern Portland, southern Clarendon, section of western Jamaica. We'll see what unfolds at that time. As stated, as of right now, this is what is happening on the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Some rainfall to the south of Westmoreland, pushing northward. Some rainfall to the south of Jamaica. Let's see if it actually pushes northward, or if that easterly flow pushes all of this towards the west. Continuing to go out in time. This is valid for 6 a.m. tomorrow on the Euro. GFS, something a bit different. We see the Euro showing more of the blues and the greens represent rainfall in and around the island. Some of it even making it as far as sections of Westmoreland, section of eastern St. Thomas, Portland. GFS, not that impressed with that time at all. More of the blues across southeastern waters of the island than anything else. Maybe some of this might meander on land, who knows. Still have some blues to the west. Not that impressed. Maybe clear skies than anything else. Take these forecasts with a grain of salt, especially considering that we just had Rafael. It makes sense that most of the moisture is sucking towards him. And we can see, however, that the afternoon, we definitely have more consensus that there's going to be some afternoon rainfall for sure. That's where the certainty is. That's where we're sure the most about. This map from the GFS and this map from the Euro are both showing 1 p.m. on Thursday. Look at the blues. Look at even the greens, the yellows. GFS showing more blues than anything else, stretching all the way from eastern to central and western parishes. We see the Euro showing the blues across eastern, central, and western parishes with the bias. Across northern Jamaica, we see the dark blues, the greens, the yellows across northern Jamaica as well. So we're definitely going to be in for some afternoon rainfall. Even as we head into 4 p.m., we still see all of that rainfall stretching from the east to the west. So the forecast for tomorrow, I'm not really believing in that morning rainfall thing, but the Euro and the GFS are showing their things. I'm more believing in the afternoon rainfall things and the rainfall forecast that will be posted a little before afternoon rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. And we know eastern parishes, we already mentioned central and western parishes. But we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. So look out for all of that rainfall during the afternoon hours for sure. and even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. This map from the GFS and this map from the Euro showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way up to 10 p.m. on a Thursday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the spots that are going to be picking up the most rainfall. We see the Euro still in consensus or still showing that most of the rainfall should be on the southern portion of the island, 1.08 inch of rainfall. GFS making more sense. Less than an inch across most areas. We see more yellows than anything else, as you can see by the key on the right. Anywhere from 0.3 all the way up to 0. Maybe 5 of an inch at most than what the Euro is showing with all of these reds, close to an inch of rainfall. But we'll definitely take it. We're in the month of November. I'm pretty sure with all of the rainfall that we got regarding Rafael, we've already exceeded the amount of rainfall that most parishes usually get for the entire month of November. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to close to 5 inches of rainfall for the month. And we know that when we calculate those, we know that 5 inches is about the same as 125 millimeters of rainfall. 50 millimeters of rainfall that Kingston gets is about 2 inches of rainfall. All of this recorded on the rain gauge. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives, if you're in St. Elizabeth, if you're in St. Anne, and you'd like to know what your parish receives throughout the year from January to December in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com. And you can use this nice little graphic right here to do the calculations. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, the visible satellite images, I won't even reload this because it's been glitching out. We see the rainfall coming into portions of the northeastern Caribbean, anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward. Lots of showers and thunderstorms affecting portions of the Leeward Islands as we speak. Some thunderstorms affecting portions of northern Venezuela, northern Colombia as well. Lots of rainfall lashing portions of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, all the way up into the Cayman Islands, section of Cuba associated with Rafael. Heading into portions of the southern sections of Florida too, getting in on some of the action. And if we take a look, it should be quite a formidable Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean. That's if it will load. Will it load? If it won't load, no problem. I can look at the other images. First of all, the Barbados radar showing some amount of rainfall, some isolated showers in and around the island. Maybe some of this might make it into portion of the island later on tonight. We can make out some rainfall right there, affecting portions of the waters to the south of Dominica. Some rainfall coming into section of Guadeloupe as we speak, but Martinique definitely getting some heavy rainfall as we speak. So too section of St. Lucia. Some rainfall coming in from the east. They were already affecting section of the Grenadine Islands, but we see some more coming in from the east to affect section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Could already be there. We can also see some rainfall coming in from the east to affect section of Trinidad and Tobago too. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, this is what I'm referring to. Look at all of the moderate to heavy rainfall now affecting portions of Puerto Rico, into portions of the US and British Virgin Islands, section of the eastern section of the Dominican Republic, getting in on the mix as well. We also see some of the spilling to section of St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. Some rainfall to the north of the ABC Islands. We see some rainfall across section of northern Venezuela. Some rainfall across eastern Nicaragua. And a lot of moisture pushing into Cuba, associated with the outer bands of Rafael for sure. And regarding where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way up until 10 p.m. on a Thursday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the spots that should be getting in on the most in the way of a rainfall. So we're talking about anywhere where we have Rafael affecting, from southern Florida into portions of Cuba, Jamaica. Well, Jamaica gonna be getting in on our fair share of rainfall. We have a section of the Cayman Islands still getting in on that rainfall as of now. We also see some rainfall expected for portions of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, section of the Leeward Islands, the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados. We have Saint Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, section of Venezuela, Colombia. Let's see what's happening across the southern portions of the basin. Not seeing much across Guyana, Suriname, or French Guyana. Maybe some isolated spots. But we definitely see some rainfall in store for sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua for sure. We see some rainfall for sections of El Salvador. Not so much for Honduras, maybe southern portion of the country. So two sections of southern Guatemala. Not so much rainfall for Belize, but we definitely see that rainfall for portion of the northern Yucatan for sure. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.